Hello everybody, it's Roz here with glamorous assistant Stephanie and also the wonderful Tracy Dockery, who is the head of Ethical Rebel, and I'm really pleased and excited that she's agreed to come on live. And there's a reason why I wanted her to come on live, and that is because she has created an absolutely amazing magazine all about plastics, pollution, sustainable fashion, that for her, what she wants to do is to take it into schools and colleges all around the country, which is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to post the link to her crowdfunder so that you can go and have a look. But first of all, what we're going to do, I'm going to put you on speaker view, so it'll be you talking, not just me. To introduce yourself, please, Tracy. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Okay, so I'm Tracy Dockery. I did a fashion degree, I don't know how long ago was it now, nearly 10 years ago. Hey, so I'm...
Sorry, that's me.
Feedback. And while I was doing the fashion design degree, I discovered all these issues with pollution, dumping dyes in waterways and chemical contamination. Slavery as well was another thing that kept coming up. And these were things I just didn't think could possibly be happening. In the UK, we used to having certain laws about how we conduct business. So I just assumed those laws applied universally, and obviously they don't. And it's something that more and more we're all finding out about. I think you have to be living under a rock not to be aware of it now. But one of the big things is that the issues are so huge and they're so complex that people have a difficulty, I think, latching on to specifics, so that they can take action. So we all know that plastic's bad, so we do what we can to recycle plastic or reduce it, but we don't always fully understand the full story of why plastic's bad. So the magazine goes into why plastics contribute to climate change, contribute to pollution, the plastics we have in our clothes. And I think for me and for a lot of people, that's kind of the biggest shocker, because I don't think a lot of us realise just how much plastic we have in our clothes.
No, I mean, if I just interrupt you briefly there, I would have had no idea really about that at all. Other than, I mean, obviously I've got my Land Rover t-shirt on here, and obviously that's going to be some kind of plasticky kind of motif and all the rest of it. But if I was just buying, like a cotton shirt or a top or something like that, has that got plastic in it?
Cotton isn't likely to. The buttons might, depends on what they're made from. If it's a polycotton, polyester is plastic based, and quite a lot of cotton shirts now tend to be polycotton mix. So it's always worth looking at the label to see what exactly, I was going to say the ingredients, the fibres are that the clothes are made from. And one of the things that we've done in the magazine is we've listed out, I think it's like 10 of the most popular, perhaps not quite right word, but the 10 biggest plastic fabrics to look out for, so you know to avoid them, or how best to go for a more sustainable or eco-friendly option.
It's such an interesting subject, isn't it? And I think, we've touched on it with a few different questions in the group as well. It's like, plastics in the ocean, obviously, like huge, great big thing. And I see these things where, you know, like you get these videos that you see on Facebook or wherever, and it's like loads of trash just like floating around in the sea and all the rest of it. And how did someone puts it there? Someone puts it there. That's one of the things that I think about, is that, you know, and who's putting it there? It's not a direct result of, say, like clothing production, is it?
An element of it is microplastics, because so things like acrylics, fleeces, when you wash them, they shed thousands and thousands of microplastics in each wash, and they do go into the sea. And it's those small microplastics that have become, I think the term is like plastic soup. In certain areas that it's just condensed areas with these plastic soup, microplastics. So creatures, sea creatures, fishes, they feed on these small. It shouldn't be microplastics. It's supposed to be whatever natural thing is that they feed on that's that size. But instead, they end up feeding on microplastics, and that's how it's getting into our food chain as well. So they estimate most of those have probably eaten or are consuming microplastics.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because a lot of what we see are like plastic bottles and rubbish like floating around in the sea, but what we're not seeing obviously are all the microplastics. Is it like plankton and things that are?
Yeah, and there's like forever chemicals as well, which wash from our clothes, which are quite harmful, and they do not dissolve, they do not go away. And they found these forever chemicals on the Arctic, and in polar bears. They reckon that 99% of animal life in the population has consumed these forever chemicals, which are not good, damaging.
It's a really, really massive concern, isn't it? It really, really is. So your magazine, how is, tell us about your magazine, and obviously you can share your screen as well if you want to show us anything from it, and then just talk us a little bit about why, because you've written a lot of it, if not all of it, am I right?
Yeah, most of it.
So just, yeah, tell us a little bit about the magazine, and then what was the inspiration to actually put it into a publication?
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to do a photo shoot with some students, to create a magazine, and they chose the topics. They wanted to do slavery, plastics and pollution, and textile waste. So we did the photo shoot, and this was all just before COVID. And then we put out, I started creating the magazine, and I kind of wanted it to be like a comprehensive or holistic view of that particular topic. And I got kind of halfway through the section on plastics and pollution and realised that this thing was massive. You know, I was getting to 100 pages. So the best thing to do was to just break it down into even smaller sections. So last year we put out the slavery magazine, which is currently on sale. And this year, this launch, we're doing the plastics and pollution. And the plastics and pollution magazine is still 100 pages. It's just such a huge topic, partly because you can't really talk about plastics and pollution without including a little bit about climate change and water scarcity and the other things that impact our environment. So yeah, that's kind of how it's come about, very slowly, because I've been collecting and researching all the information as I go, and because the information changes, because there's new research coming up all the time, so I'm constantly having to go back and change it and update it.
That's like more than a full-time job, really, isn't it?
Pretty much, yes, it has been. Yes, and yeah, I'm doing it off my own back as well, really. So
Yeah, no, I think what you've done is just so admirable, alongside running you know, like sort of tailoring alterations, like, 'cause that's what you do, isn't it? This is where it come from, is that you do alterations, and you are a designer as well.
I do commissions, designs, and I get a lot of requests now for repairs and alterations. People are really getting into wanting to extend the life of their clothes, which is brilliant. I enjoy doing that. So
yeah. So the crowdfunder then that you've set up, that's already busted its target, hasn't it?
yes, I'm delighted, because that means we can print. We've raised enough to do a minimum print run.
Yes.
So we can actually print it. So now it's a case of raising as much as we can so we can get as many copies as we can into different student libraries. Because I feel that rather than just selling it for the sake of selling it, it's more sustainable for it to be in a library where it can be lent out to students.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we speak a lot, so the whole idea about it being available in you know, schools and colleges and universities all around, it's a wonderful, wonderful document, if you like, to be able to have there for the students to read up all about it as well and become informed, because I still think there's so much ignorance around.
Yeah, I mean, when I was working with the students before, I mean, a lot of them were clued in, but there were a lot that weren't, and a lot of, and you know, I had teenage, well, they're actually a bit older than teenage now, kids, and you know, the only reason they're aware of any of it is because I talk about it. It's not something that's on their radar every day.
Yeah.
So most young people, it's just not what they see.
No, and it's something that can just be very easily pushed under the carpet as well, isn't it? Is, you know, to deal with it on a later day, but you know, you've done a lot of research into it and then put it into a magazine format, which is absolutely brilliant. So I have put the link, everybody, I have put the link in the comments so that you can get a copy of the magazine, which in actual fact, you can get a digital copy for £5, which is just like incredible. And then it's £10 for to donate a copy to go into a school somewhere. And that's I think that's what needs to happen. So this is the second magazine that you've done. Where do you see it going from here?
Well, once I've kind of done this one, we've got the next one, which will be textile waste, which I guess will, the writing rate will probably mean that it'll be put out there next year, early next year, hopefully. After that, I think what I would probably do would focus more on putting the information out on the Ethical Rebel website rather than doing a magazine. There is a plan though as well to combine those 3 magazines into a book. So essentially people have got a manual then of all, you know, all the different things, all the different issues in the fashion industry and the things to look out for. Hopefully in a format that's easy to understand, and then you can just literally flick to the bit they need as and when they need it. Yeah, and then Ethical Rebel will then become kind of a news site, a blog, and also because one of the things we do is we have an ethical fashion directory, so it's signposting people in the direction where they can buy from brands that are actually contributing to improving the environment rather than damaging, if you like, and improving people's lives rather than what's the word, looking to use people's lives.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that the directory that you've got on the Ethical Rebel website is great, because you're bringing together a lot of like-minded, sustainable fashion businesses and then highlighting them all in one place, isn't it? And so this is definitely, we've got sustainable fashion people in this group. So we will put the link probably afterwards now into the comments, just about going to have if you've got a sustainable fashion brand, to go and list it on on Tracy's website, definitely. So when does the crowdfunder finish?
Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. So that's 5 days, I think. Yeah.
5 days, yeah. So definitely, you need to go and have a look at the link I've put in the comments. And for £5, who doesn't have £5? And that means that, you know, we can like really push this, because I think it's really lovely that you found all of this and then actually taken the time to properly research and then put it into written format that can be shared with others, because it's too easy just to sort of like, you know, go around and blab that, oh yeah, well, you know, this problem, but without actually doing the research and something that people can actually study and read. I think it's absolutely brilliant what you've done, and I know you've done it in your spare time whilst you're sitting there with your, I can just imagine like sitting there with your sewing needle and scissors and things and like making, you know, things fit people nicely. You're the perfect person to have done it. It's like it's your calling.
It does feel that way. It is, I don't know. I mean, I think I couldn't do my business if it wasn't purpose driven, if that makes sense. I can't do it just for money. I'm not motivated by money. I need to be able to, you know, support myself, but other than that, I need to have a bigger purpose. And, and this works for me.
Yeah, no, I relate to that very much, as you know, instead of just like, you know, selling all the mannequins out and making money that way, but actually no, I'm in a position that I can have a bigger purpose, you know, and it doesn't have to be, obviously it doesn't have to be mannequins. It can be any kind of product, but it can like follow the same principles. And I think that's what's coming together in the group, is people who have got that. It's like here in the heart, you know, to be able to, you know, and at the end of the day, we've all got to make a living as well. So that's why, you know, that's why I called it Create Your Sustainable Business. So it's very interesting. Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Guys, go and check out the link in the comments. We will also put the link in for the Ethical Rebel directory as well. You definitely need to get yourself in there. That's for sure. And yeah, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Right, hang on a minute. Stop live stream. There we go. Thanks everyone for watching.